I'm a victim. I'm a victim of bad decision making. Why? Not because I act too quick. I think that's a feature, not a bug. No, I'm a victim because for the last decade, I did not reflect regularly. And I think regular reflection, I think it's this life hack that can save anybody years of their lives. So this is what I do. I put a timer on my phone. 20 minutes, it seems to do pretty well. And I sit and I do stream of consciousness journaling. I just write. I don't judge myself for what I write. I let my fingers type. I do it on a computer. Some people prefer to do this in a notebook. And I find that when I just get out everything and I just see it written and laid bare in front of me, I can see the forest that I so often mistake for the trees. And I think if you're in like heavy production mode like me, or if you're busy, and actually everyone thinks that they're busy, you need a bird's eye view so you can see what you're doing. And that bird's eye view is really hard to get unless you take the time out of your busy schedule to get that. And I think this type of timed stream of consciousness journaling gives you that bird's eye view. And I think everybody should do this. Founders, seasoned entrepreneurs, employees, everybody should do this. Welcome to episode number 8 of The Edward Show. I'm very happy that you can join me on my daily podcast. Can't believe I started this thing. I still can't believe how crazy this is, doing a daily show by myself. No writers. I actually did stream of consciousness journaling right before this for 10 minutes, writing down what I wanted to talk about. And I had all these ideas and I wanted to think of something that's very worthwhile. I don't want to waste anybody's time. What I'm talking about now, the stream of consciousness journaling, this is something that's helped me a lot and that I constantly recommend to people because I think it is a life-changing thing to do. I think this is a life-changing thing to do, this stream of consciousness journaling. And so I recommend it all the time, and I do it myself all the time. And I did it right before this. I wasn't in the zone of recording. So here's what I did. Okay, I had a little bit of coffee, of iced coffee, very useful. But even then, I'm like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And so I did stream of consciousness journaling and I came up with this and I wrote some notes. And now I feel pretty passionate about what I'm saying and sharing, and I'm happy to be able to share it because I think this is a great thing that everybody can do. I want to tell a story. So a co-founder of mine from this project that we have is called Reverb. This co-founder, he sent me a tweet about this guy, Alex Mashinsky. Alex Mashinsky was CEO and co-founder of a crypto lending protocol called Celsius. And I think Celsius failed. A lot of people lost their money. And it was a big project in crypto. If you were in crypto or Web3, you probably heard of Celsius. And Alex Mashinsky was just arrested. This was just reported on by the Washington Post. Alex Mashinsky was just arrested for fraud. And actually, in 2017 and 18, me and my co-founder, we met Alex Mashinsky and his team many times. We were kind of like hot stuff in crypto. We ran the biggest blockchain meetup in the world, and we invented Play to Earn. We made the first crypto video game. And so we met Alex and his team many times, talked, crossed paths. We were going to do events together, but we didn't. We met him many times. And I want to say, Alex was already very well off before he started Celsius. He was already very wealthy. I think he had exited from 2 startups and had big exits, very big exits. And I remember when he was fundraising for Celsius, he would have these huge events with all these super wealthy people from Manhattan who he was able to get to his events very easily, or from New York City, or all over the place in Manhattan. He would do many of these events for these big fundraising events, and everyone was dressed well, and everyone had so much money, and he gave this speech to everybody. And the reason that he was able to attract all these people is because he had his big exits, and he was a successful business person. And so he didn't need, this is what I said to my co-founder. He didn't need to throw away his life by committing fraud. And I can't really relate to that. I want to read what I texted my co-founder. I said, it's loading on WhatsApp now. I said, wow, what a huge bummer. He was well off before he did Celsius. He didn't need to ruin his life attempting it, and he would have been very comfortable otherwise. And he really would have been. And life is too short. I constantly tell my friends, life is so short. People change. Like, time goes by really fast. People change and scenery changes. And I don't want my scenery to change to a prison cell. I think it's a shame that he threw away what could have been such a great life by doing this dumb, greedy stuff. My co-founder said he did it because of greed. But the reason I share this story is because I wonder would he have done this if he had been doing stream of consciousness journaling regularly? Would he have gotten into the mess that he's now in, or would he have stopped or not started it in the first place? I'm sure he's very smart, but I feel like he would have more deliberately weighed the pros and cons of what he was doing, because he is very smart. And most people, they don't have the willpower to just sit down and confront these hard things in a stream of consciousness journal. And even if you need to, I don't know, have like a drink or something in order to make yourself more free, it's just so important to write down everything, especially the hard stuff, because the best thing that can happen to you is you can find something that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing, and then you can cut that action or whatever it is from your life. So yeah, I've recommended this to many people, and it's changed their lives completely. I think it's very beneficial. Like I said, I wonder if Alex Mashinsky would be arrested for fraud if he did this regularly. I'm sure he did not. Most people don't. And I do it regularly. It really helps me. In fact, I'm going to make an effort to do it more this week, because I really got into the zone. Here's what happened to me. I just finished a huge work grind because I wanted to make these daily podcasts. First of all, I just switched from Premiere Pro to Descript. And I did that because with Descript, you can enable studio sound. It's this like checkbox, and it makes everything sound really nice. Whereas to do that in Premiere Pro, you actually have to put in each individual audio effect. But in Descript, it uses AI to sense where the audio currently is and where it should be, and then applies basically a filter that's different for each recording. It's amazing, and everything sounds good. And then I was learning. So I spent the last 2 days switching from Adobe Premiere to Descript, learning Descript. I didn't know how to use it, so I had to learn it. And I'm still learning it, but now I think I know it like decently enough. Switching to Descript, then I had to re-render, reprocess my previous recordings, and then figuring out like how podcast hosting worked. So that now my podcasts appear everywhere that people get their podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere. And I was in the weeds. I was in the trees. That's the expression. I was in the trees, and it's hard to see the forest when you're so deep in the trees. And so I just finished this huge grind. It was like just I would wake up, and it was interrupting my normal morning routine because I just wanted to get this done. So I wasn't doing the routine in the same way that I would. Normally I'd take a long walk in the mornings, and I just wanted to get it done. Now it's done. And now I need to put that reflection back into my life, because I think it's that important. So yeah, I want to give an exercise to end this daily pod. I feel great. Love doing these. I love doing these. And I love that you all listen. Whoever is listening, thank you for listening. So, all right, here's the exercise. This one really helped me when I did it. Let me tell you when I did this. I think it was the beginning of 2021. I was still living in Kiev in Ukraine. That's a story for another pod. I lived in Kiev for 2 years in Ukraine. I left 10 days before the war started. Crazy story. But so I went to a cafe at the beginning of 2021, probably got a big coffee, and I think I got some pastry. And I sat there with my laptop for hours. And what I did is I went back on all the projects that I started. And then I said, what do I know now that could have made these projects successful? And I tried to find the common mistakes that I made. The common mistakes that I made with all of them was that I didn't stick with them. And so I want you to do this. This is a reflection project. And just write out in a journal the things that you started and what would have happened if you had kept with them for a few months. I think that's an amazing thing to do. Really helps, gives you perspective on your life. Or sorry, what would have happened if you had kept with them for years, and do it with things that you started and kept at for a few months. So here it is again. Go back on all the projects you started and kept with for at least a few months, and ask yourself what these projects could have turned into if you had stuck with them. And that had a tremendous effect on me when I did it. If you've never started a project, ask yourself how to really visualize. Look at what you're doing now and ask yourself if you made any mistakes in the past that you didn't notice, but that you can learn from now. And if you don't want to do that, then the simpler thing to do is to just do the stream of consciousness journaling for 20 minutes. That's also a great thing to do. It helps if you have, I think, some direction at first. And I think like looking back on your life deliberately helps inform the stream of consciousness journaling in the future. It's kind of like you're digging through things a bit to remember things. And then when you do the stream of consciousness journaling later on, that helps a lot more because you've gone back and have remembered the things that you've done. And yeah, but like if you do any of them, you'll be better off than if you didn't. So I'm gonna end the pod. I'm gonna end the pod with this belief that I have. I had this realization when I was living in Barcelona. I was sitting on a friend's couch. Shout out to Alexandra. I was sitting on your couch, and I was meditating, and I was staring at this brick wall in this apartment. And I came to this realization that the success that I want, is actually just a series of right decisions. It's just right decision after right decision. And it doesn't have to be this grueling grind, this soul crushing grind. It doesn't actually have to be that. It just has to be smart decisions that benefit each other over and over again. And I believe that you get to these decisions with constant reflection. This is episode number 8 of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.